voices, the 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 voices.
Moving on to our next part, why do you have tattoos? Tommy, would you like to go first?
Sure. I wasn't sure. I think he was actually saying something too.
I was talking to my husband. He tried to come in.
Get out.
When I was a really little kid, my great-grandfather had these amazing stories and books and stuff like that from his time abroad. He was a linguistics guy and spoke Cantonese, Mandarin, Japanese, French, and English. So he worked a lot of his life between Tokyo and Hong Kong and brought home all these awesome artifacts. And probably one of my most vivid memories of when he was still alive was looking through a photo album with my great-grandma, who pointed to this young guy that I didn't recognize, surrounded by these really stoic, super serious Japanese gentlemen, like super stiff, and all black and white photo. And it turns out that was my great-grandfather. And when I turned the page, it was the same setup. It was all the same guys in the same photo. The second page was the Japanese businessmen in what looked like underwear, but it's a fudoshi, I think is the term for it. And they were pretty much from neck to feet covered in this brilliant, again, I still remember it vividly, heavy Japanese tattoo work. Now, it wasn't until way, way later I realized that my grandfather, working in like textiles, probably ended up having to deal with what I would later recognize as like Japanese Yakuza guys. But they kind of ran a lot, I guess, the docking stuff. And this, again, probably early 1900s, probably like, maybe the teens, I guess, in there somewhere. As soon as I saw that, I immediately, even as a little kid, knew I wanted to kind of do that, or I wanted to look that way. And the older I got, and the more I looked into the art, the more I kind of fell in love with the representation, the mythology, all the other stuff that was tied into it. So that quickly kind of became a passion, and I chased it. And I think that's probably, I guess, like where the tattoo bug bit, I guess, first.
How did you get into the art side of it, rather than just I want tattoos, but actually to be a creator and an artist?
I was the kid in high school that was always drawing all my tests. Most of my teachers were really adamant about, like, you should do something with the arts. And I had tried to go through, basically the college route of like go to school for animation or something, and it was at the time pretty cost prohibitive. Did the same thing, I joined the military instead of going to art school, and figured that was that. Like, if you couldn't get into like working for Disney or for drawing comic books, then there wasn't like a lot of room, I guess, outside of that. But while I was in the service, I ended up drawing a lot of tattoos for guys that were going away on like weekend leave, or at the time when I was stationed in South Carolina, it was actually illegal to tattoo anywhere in the state. This was in the mid 90s at that point.
Wow.
So most of the guys that were trying to get tattooed were going to leave on like go to either Georgia, or they were going home or whatever. So it was even more important for them to like go with some type of image that they could bring to an artist, making the process a little bit easier. So I kind of became that guy, and in the company, I think for the most part, I ended up drawing a bunch of the initial sketches. So as soon as going home became a thing, I realized maybe I should kind of look into that tattooing thing. And that was it. I guess, as they say, the rest was history.
That's great.
Nikki, what about you? Why do you have tattoos?
Yeah, my first tattoo when I was 18, came home, it was like around my birthday. Came home, I was going to school in New Jersey, North Jersey, and came home to Philly. track. I had a scholarship, track and cross country scholarship. And I was like, I'm gonna go get this tattoo. It's gonna be cool. I'm gonna have it on my arm. And I'm gonna go into these races and rip my shirt off and have it on my shoulder, like all flexing and stuff. Kind of stupid. And my nickname was Sonic the Hedgehog, or Sonic, whatever you call it. So I got that, and after a while, I went home, and my mom took out a broom and beat the crap out of me because I got a tattoo. And but that was my first one, and they got my second one. I think it's probably 22, a few years later, and it was a guy's initials, which is really stupid. So I've made a lot of stupid mistakes early on. I ended up getting the guy's initials covered up with a black cat, which is still there. Now those first two, I do regret them, and I've been trying to remove them. But in the meantime, the ones I actually thought about and had some kind of connection to, I never would get rid of them. The third one was I got a tattoo with my sisters. We all have the same one. It's the I guess the marker of the three. I have two other sisters, so it was three girls my mom had. So we all got the same. That I guess it's an Irish symbol. And then I got one that was I'm trying to remember exactly. I got another one with my dog died. She passed away. I got her dog tags on my other wrist. And then when my daughter was born, I wanted to get a tattoo that was representative of my husband and I and our family. A cardinal, which when we first got together, moved in together, we used to see cardinals in our yard all the time. And that's like our code word. If something's wrong, we say cardinal to each other. So, and it's only something that so he knows if somebody's coming to kill me or something, if I say cardinal, he knows I'm in trouble. It's kind of our code word.
Pretty interesting.
So that's the last one I got. But I still. Oh, and I got another one. I can't forget. So when I was a kid, my mom was pretty borderline abusive. Decided she's very aggressive with us. Belts, sticks, whatever she could pick up. One day she got mad at me and she decided to chase me to the kitchen and she threw me through a plate glass window in the back door, and I had a scar in the back of my arm. So I went to my tattoo artist in Portland. Said I want something to cover this up that kind of represents me. Dealing with that and dealing with my mom and getting past it. So I got a dragonfly to cover up that scar. So that was the last one I got. So those mean a lot to me. The first two don't mean anything to me. And eventually I will get them removed and get something else in place.
Okay. Mike, you had mentioned that you don't have any tattoos, but we have talked before and you are a big fan of tattoos and you would actually like to get one.
Yes.
Why? Why do you like tattoos? Why do you want to get one? Why don't you have one?
So, well, I love the art in it. And the art in tattooing just seems to be getting better all the time. Part of the reason why I didn't get one when I was younger is when I was a kid. So my father was in the Marine Corps as well, and he doesn't have a tattoo. But because of my father having been in the Marine Corps, I saw a lot of old retired Marines and sailors, and the technology back in the 60s in tattooing was not really good. And these big old fat guys with these bleeding,
purple blobs.
On their arms and stuff. And I was like, they look really cool when they're done, but last thing I want to do is be that fat old guy with the things that used to be cool. But as I grew older and saw a lot more of the artistic aspect and not just the old sailor aspect, because I wasn't exposed to a lot of the Polynesian or the Far Eastern tattooing for a long time.
Okay.
So I didn't see how elaborate it could be in the beginning. And then in the 90s, as it became more popular and it was very interesting, then there were a couple of things going on. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to get. And I didn't want to put something on my body that was permanent that I was going to go, why the hell did I do this? And then eventually things became cost prohibitive. So about 15 years ago, I came up with an idea of what I wanted. It was something that I wanted, and I could never find someone to try to sketch it out because I'm not a good artist. So I had that idea, and the funny thing was it wasn't a marine tattoo, and I was like, well, if I get that tattoo, I'm gonna have to get a second tattoo, which is a marine tattoo, because I can't be a marine that doesn't have that has a tattoo and doesn't have a marine tattoo, kind of thing. But so it's really just ended up now as a cost thing.
It's understandable. That when I was a kid, I wasn't really into tattoos. My stepdad had tattoos, and he just looked like a big fat biker. And it's not that I was against tattoos, I just didn't feel as if they were for me. And I had a girlfriend who went and got a tattoo, and I didn't have a problem with her getting the tattoo. It's just she went with her friends to get it, and I thought like I would go with her. Then again, she also went to New York for New Year's with her friends, and I was at work, so I guess I kind of should have saw that coming. But as I was in college, a friend of mine that I met in class that I'm, believe it or not, still friends with now. And it's been a few years since those college days. But he had tattoos, and we were talking about it, and he was going to get another one. And I decided that I think I was going to get one. I just didn't know what to get. And I came up with some a really stupid idea that I would get on my arm, and I'm not repeating it. Because it's a really stupid idea, and I am glad.
It was a Tweety Bird or a dolphin, we know.
I'm a big Black Sabbath fan, and I love the song Iron Man. I'll just leave it at that. And probably had a little Tweety underneath it. But every time I would tell him about this tattoo and all, he would just roll his eyes at me, and eventually I decided that okay, it is a dumb idea. That's why he's rolling his eyes. I'm not going to get it. What do I want to get though? I need to get something. And I was watching wrestling on TV one day, and one of the wrestlers had a cross on his arm, and it made me think, like, wow, that looks really cool. I've seen that before somewhere. And if you get the actual album, the Ozman Cometh album from Ozzy Osbourne, came out in like 97 or 98. It has, on the back cover, there's a picture of Ozzy sitting on a bar stool, and he's holding a chain, like a necklace chain, and there's a cross on the bottom of it. And it's just hanging there. It's like, that's what I'm going to get. And so I got a cross on my arm, and it had like barbed wire around it and everything. And, that started the trend. No, it's not a barbed wire band. The barbed wire goes around the cross, like a reef. And so anyway, I got that, and then with an idea of like where I would have like hands on my shoulders, because I ended up getting another tattoo over here, and the hands would be up on there holding them and everything. So there it goes. It would kind of look like on the back of the album cover where he's holding the chain, And years went by, and I never did anything with it. But then I started getting other ideas, and like I said, I'm a Black Sabbath fan. I love Black Sabbath, and the song "Paranoid," it really. I felt like there was a lot about the song that was about me in different ways. And over the years, I've been getting it tattooed on me, where either lyrics or different like artwork that kind of like as a metaphor for it. And it's just like on my arms, my legs, filling in the sleeves, which is what Tommy's been doing for the last years, filling up the upper part of my arm, where you have the hands holding on to the chains and everything, the barbed wire. So filling these in, and my mind, as I've learned since I've been doing the writing and everything for the last 15 years or so, my mind works in weird ways, and it just, goes off in different directions. And I can be thinking about one thing, it's like, okay, I'm gonna get this. Because I never really wanted to have sleeves. I never wanted anything on my arms other than what could be covered with wearing a shirt. So it's kind of like, I'll have tattoos, but then you won't know it unless I take my shirt off. And now it's like, well, I want everybody to know. I want to be visible. And it's a way for me, just like with my writing, it's a way for me to express myself, with the different ideas that I have and things that might have meaning to me. And I just, I'm going to get put on my body, So that's why I have tattoos and some of the meanings of them and everything. So that's that.
Sweet. Cool.
The voices. 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 The voices.